Hey guys, welcome to High Teaching Academy. Kiran Reddy Abdullah here. Welcome to day 3 of Project 365, teaching you guys computer technology. So we are starting with Linux. Yeah. So let's go ahead. Let's get started with our today's class. So in the last class, as we always do a recap. So in the last class, we have seen how to set up a Linux server. Yeah. On a local computer, we have seen the concept. What is virtualization? What is hypervisor? How do we download a hypervisor tool? So we have seen how to download a VMware in the last class and how to set up an operating system, how to download an operating system and how to set up our own operating system on a local Windows machine. Yeah. But here, now there are some problems, guys. What are some problems? So when you're setting up a local VM, the problem is that first scalability, like the resources are very limited. I cannot go ahead, I cannot create multiple virtual machines. So let's say I need 10 or 20 or 100 virtual machines. Setting this up locally is absolutely not possible. And the other thing is my physical machine would get absolutely slow. Why? Because I'm going ahead, I am dividing resources across my virtual machine. So here eventually my physical machine would be getting slow. So what is the solution? What is the alternative? So the alternative for this is we will understand by going to a cloud, guys. We can go ahead. You can start working on a cloud environment. So here, my preferred cloud is AWS or Amazon Web Services. So today we will see, I'll show you how to set up your 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 AWS cloud account. Okay. So of course, guys, so this is very easy to set up your AWS cloud account. Now we are going to create a free tier account. So it's going to be a free tier account, and the free tier account provides 12 months of free service, 12 months of free service. And then we are going to see how to create a virtual machine on AWS cloud. How can we create a virtual machine on AWS cloud? So I'm going to show you two options. First, I'm going to create first we will create Windows virtual machine. Okay. And in the next class, we are going to create a Linux virtual machine. Okay. So to get started, first go to your browser, guys. Just go to the browser. Yeah. So open it in incognito mode or private browsing mode and simply search for AWS console. You see management console. Now, right under the management console, you have an option that says create an AWS account. Okay. Just click on this option, create an AWS account. So once you click on create AWS account, you see towards the right corner, there is an option that says create an AWS account. Just click on this. Okay. Now, once you click on that, now it is going to ask you a couple of details, guys. So the AWS is going to ask you a couple of details. So first, go ahead, enter any email address, guys. So you guys can provide a Gmail or a Yahoo mail. And after that, select your account name. Your account name can be anything. It can be your own name or it can be any pseudo name that you want to give. And once you click on verify, they're going to go ahead. They're going to send you a OTP. They're going to send you a one-time password. So once you do this, in the next step, they're going to ask you, what is the type of account you want to create? Account type. So there are two options. One is business. The other one is personal. You can create a business account or you can create a personal account. But here we are going to go with personal. So you guys kindly select personal. Business, that is for organizations. So we will select personal. And after that, it is going to ask you some details like about your address details, okay? Your phone number, your mobile, your email address, so on and so forth. And once you click on next, here it is going to ask you for card details. Now you might be wondering, why is it going to ask us for card details? Simple, guys. The reason it is going to ask you for card details is once you provide the card details, if you're in the States, it is going to deduct $1. If you are in India, if you are from India, it is going to deduct 2 rupees. So this is just for validation. This is just to make sure that, yes, are you the right person who's going ahead, who's creating the account? So this is just for validation and they're going to refund this, guys. They will refund this in 48 hours. They're going to go ahead, they're going to provide a complete refund of the money in 48 hours. So once the account is created, yeah, so by doing this, you can simply create your AWS account. Once the account is created, I'm going to say sign in. Yeah, sign in. You see this option, sign in. All right. So here, guys, when you come to the sign in page, there are two options. There are two options. The first option is the root user. Root user is nothing but the primary admin user. So you guys can log in as a root user where you have to provide the email that you have just created. Okay. And you guys can go ahead, you guys can provide, once you provide the email, in the next step, you guys can provide the password. But here, I'm going to log in as IAM user. Now, what is IAM? I'm going to teach you this in the AWS class. But IAM stands for Identity and Access Management here. IAM, Identity and Access Management. So this is going to ask for an account ID. So here you can give your AWS account ID. What is the username and what is the password that you have gone ahead, you have set up? Okay. Now, once I provide all the credentials, I can go ahead, I can log in into AWS console. Now, this is our AWS console. So here, guys, towards the left, you see, there are multiple different services that are offered by AWS. So AWS has close to 5,000 plus services, guys. That's right. It's one of the largest cloud service provider in the market. And in this, now what is my requirement? My requirement is that I want to set up a virtual machine. Yes, VM. So virtual machines on AWS, they have a concept, like the terminology for virtual machine on AWS is called as EC2. EC2. So let's see what is EC2. All right. So let's see what is EC2. So if I say AWS EC2, you see this, guys? Amazon Elastic Cloud Compute is a part of Amazon's.com's cloud computing platform. So EC2 simply stands for Elastic Compute Cloud, which is a part of AWS cloud computing platform. Okay. And that is from Amazon Web Services. What it does is, it allows users to rent virtual computers, guys. So what it's going to do is, it is going to give permissions to users to create virtual computers. That's right. And what is the primary purpose? On which I can run my own computer applications. So the idea is, if we want to run our own applications, we need servers. Where are we going to get the servers from? I can get the servers from AWS, from Amazon. Got it? So here, I'll come down to the web page, to the console. Now I can simply search for EC2. I can simply search for EC2 here. Yeah, you can click on EC2, or you can go to services. Under services, you see you have an option called as compute. Click on compute. Under compute, you see you have something called as EC2, virtual servers in the cloud. Click on EC2. And now, see, this is going to take you to the instances dashboard page, guys. So remember, guys, whenever I say EC2 or instance or server or computer, they all mean the same. Okay, they all mean the same. Now, here I'm going to click on instances. So I have a Java server running here. I'll just stop it. This is for another class. Stop. So now, guys, I want to launch a new server. Okay. Now, what I want to do is, here towards the right, you have an option that says launch instance. You see, you have an option that says launch instance. Simply click on this. Okay. And if you scroll down, you see it is going to ask you some details. So what is the name that you want to give? So I can say this is my Windows test server. Okay. So today I'm going to create a Windows server just to show you guys the interface, how real this server looks like. Okay. And select your operating system. So they're asking you what operating system you want. We have different operating systems. So I'm going to go with Windows here because today I'm creating a Windows machine. Okay. Scroll down, then it is going to ask you what type of server do you want, like the server capacity, guys. So simply imagine when we go to buy a laptop, right? Or when we go ahead, when we go to buy any desktop, now the most important thing thing is your configuration, like how much CPU capacity you want, how much RAM capacity you want. So this is where on AWS the terminology is known as instance type. What type of instance do you want? So AWS offers a service type called as T2 micro, which falls under free tier, guys. Free tier means it is not chargeable, okay? And you get one CPU and 1 GB memory, okay? So this is what you get. And beneath that, they're asking you for something called as key pair. So what is key pair? We will start understanding this in detail in the coming classes, but now I'll give you a rough understanding. You see, you can use a key pair to securely connect to your instance. Ensure that you have access to the selected key pair before you launch the instance. Now, simple guys, imagine you see the server. Where am I launching this? I'm not launching this on my local machine. I'm launching this from the cloud, right? So from my local server, if I want to connect to the server that is running on the cloud, now there should be some kind of password, right? There should be some kind of authentication. So that is where this key pair comes into the picture. So what you guys can do is you guys can click on create new key pair here, create new key pair. You guys can give a name. So I'm going to say Windows test. You guys can give any name, guys, but don't add any dots. So don't say something like .txt, .document. Don't add any dots. So try to keep it as simple as possible and keep the format to RSA and PEM. Okay, so leave this as a default format and just click on create. So once you click on create, this is going to get downloaded on your local server. So I'll say create. Now I just clicked on create, right? So let me just show you my local server here. So this is my Mac machine. If I go to downloads, you see this. I just downloaded a Windows text PEM file. Yeah. So now I'll just let this be. I'm going to tell you where we are going to use it. And coming to the network, don't touch the network, guys. Don't touch network. I'm going to teach you this in detail in the AWS classes. And coming to the security groups. So what is a security group? A security group is just like a firewall, you know. It is somebody who's protecting your server. So if you want to connect to your server, there is some particular port that we need to access. And here, Windows runs on the port number RDP. It runs on port number RDP. So you guys can simply just let it be as it is. Or you guys can click on edit here. Click on edit, where you guys can customize here. Create security group. You guys can add a name. So I can say this is Windows test security group. You can add a description. So I'll say allow admin access to Windows. Okay. And what is the type? You see, Windows runs on the port called as RDP, and the number that is defined for the port is 3389. So you guys can create a security group like this and then scroll down. Storage. You see, guys, for our server, they were also providing storage. Yesterday, the storage, we rented it from, we divided this from our local server. Now I don't have to do it. I have a default storage of 30 GB. That's absolutely great. And coming to advanced details, don't touch this. And finally, we can see the summary. So I'm launching one server, which is a Windows server. And what is the server type? T2 micro. My security group, I'm creating a new security group. My total volume is 30 GB. And now we are going to say launch. So now we have initiated our server, guys. So we have given some details. AWS is going to take all the details and it is going to launch a brand new server. And you see there is an ID that is generated here. So whenever you launch any resource on AWS, it will generate a resource ID. So if I click on the ID, can you guys see this here? I have a Windows test server. You see the status is running. The status is running here. You see this? And at the bottom, I can see some details, guys. So this is the public IP address of my server. This is the private IP address of my server. So every server has two IP addresses, public and private. Okay. Public is for external communication. Private is for internal communication. Yeah. So now I want to connect to the server. So I'll click on connect. So once you click on connect, you see guys, we have something called as session manager. I will show you this in AWS, how to connect with session manager. You have serial console. Now we're not going to use this. So what we am going to do is I'm going to use something called as RDP client. Okay. RDP client. Now, why am I not using serial console? Because my this is an IAM account, guys. So I don't have permissions to use this. I can use something called as RDP client. Okay. So once you go to RDP client, just click on this option, download remote desktop file. Once the file is downloaded on the desktop, just double click the file. Okay. Hmm. All right, guys. So, okay, this is not working out. Okay, so I'll tell you. Uh, rather than downloading the desktop file, what you can do is, I'm using a Mac machine, so this file is not compatible. On a Windows machine, you guys can download this, or on a Windows machine, you guys can open the RDP client. You guys can open RDP client. For Mac, there is a separate tool, guys. For Mac, we have a separate tool. That's called as Windows RDP. So you guys can download this from the browser. Just a second. All right. You see this? So if you go to the Apple Store, people who are using Mac, you guys can look for an application called as Microsoft Remote Desktop. Okay. This is available on the App Store, guys. So you guys can download it. I've already downloaded it. So I'm going to click on open. Okay, it's already open here. All right, guys. So once you click on this, once you click on the Microsoft Remote Desktop, you see it is going to open an interface here. It is going to open an interface here. And we see there is an option that says Add PC. Okay. So I'm going to click on Add PC. Now it is asking me for the PC name, like what is the host name or what is the IP address. So here I'm going to enter, I need to go ahead, I need to enter the IP address of the server. So just go back to the server. This is a Windows server, right? Copy the public IP address. Okay. Open RDP, enter the public IP address. Got it? Now click on add. Now you see guys, it is trying to connect. So while it is trying to connect, it is asking for a username. So what is the username? So if you go to connect under the RDP client, you have the username here. The username is administration. Okay. So copy paste the username and it is asking for a password. So, the password, now we have downloaded a particular file, right? You see, we downloaded a particular file, the PEM file. So this is the password file, but before you directly update it, you're supposed to convert it. How do you convert it? Simple. Right below here, you see there is something called as get password. Click on get password. Upload the file that we downloaded. Downloads. Upload this file, guys. Upload this file. Yes. Decrypt. So now what they're going to do is they're going to provide a short password. Just copy the short password and paste it here. That's it. So you guys can validate by saying show password. Now I provided the username, password, and I'll click on continue. Just click on continue. Now it is going ahead. It is establishing connection with the Windows server that was created on the AWS cloud. So let me just minimize this. Yeah. Sorry, this went out of proportion. So now This is going to take some time. I mean, not some time, it's just going to take a minute. And slowly we guys can start seeing that the system would start booting up. So first, yeah, you see this, it has started popping up. At the bottom, I can see a Windows logo. There is a search bar. And within no time, the machine would start showing up, guys. And there you go, guys. So this is our brand new Windows server that we have here. And this works like absolutely just a normal Windows server, no difference. You guys can go ahead. If you click on Windows, you guys can see all the options here. You have the administrator tab, you have the task manager. You guys can go to the control panel to check out the details and just click on yes to the right. Slowly, we will also get some IP addresses here. Look at this, guys. Look at this. So you see, there is something called as instance ID. This is the same ID that we generated. Instance ID that was generated. What is a public IP, sorry, private IP address? What is a public IP address? What is the type of server? This is coming from which region, and how much is the total RAM capacity that we have allocated. So now we simply went ahead. We simply created a Windows server from the AWS cloud. So this server and a physical Windows server, there is absolutely no difference. There is absolutely no difference. But what is the beauty? The beauty is that there is zero load on my local machine. Why? Because this machine is coming from the cloud. So this is the reason, guys, all the IT companies now are switching to cloud service providers so that they don't have to deal with the hassle of management. They're only going to use the resources. And once like whatever the resources they use, at the end of the month, they're going to go ahead, they're going to pay the bill. So today we have understood how to create a Windows server from the cloud. So first I've shown you how to create a cloud account, then how to create a Windows server and how to connect to this Windows server using RDP client. So now once you have done this, you guys can just go back to the server. You guys can just go back to the AWS instance page, select the server, and you guys can terminate it. Like you guys can delete it, guys. Okay. Delete it because we are not going to be using it. And as soon as I terminated it, you see this, it is shutting down. The server has been shut down. Okay. So this is how we are going to go ahead. We are going to create our servers on the cloud, and then I'm going to start teaching you all the different commands of Linux. So this is a Windows server, but we need a Linux server. Yeah. So in tomorrow's class, I'm going to teach you how to create a Linux server on the AWS cloud, how to connect to a Linux server. And from there, we are going to take it forward. Okay. So if you guys are enjoying my teaching, if you guys like it, kindly subscribe, kindly like, and kindly share, guys. And again, see you guys tomorrow with a new concept. And every day, I'm going to teach you guys something new about the technology. So stay committed and stay consistent, guys. Yeah. See you guys tomorrow. Bye, guys.